first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to start with layout number 1. And for that, I'm going to make sure that everything is, I'm going to zoom in with this camera just a little bit. Okay. Yeah. So that's, I think that's better. Every time. Okay. So we will, I just want to make sure that we're going to be in frame. Okay, great. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start with our first layout. And if you're not familiar with our project sheets and you haven't worked with them before, one of the things that it lists is it gives you all of the things from the kit that you need to pull out, and it'll give you your photo sizes and all the details. So you'll see those here. And for this particular page, we are going to need, I'm going to need a paper trimmer there, and then some white cardstock, which over here, and I think it's trimmed. Okay, this one is trimmed down. So I've got a sheet of white cardstock, and then I've got our Argyle paper. This is called our Fabulously Fallish paper, and we're going to use this for the corners. And then we will need our frame paper. I'm grabbing that right now. Okay. Here we go. We're going to need this. And I don't know. We don't need this one for this page. So what we need to do, there's a few different ways to do this. We need 2 of these frames, and we need this magenta one here and this kind of orangey red one here. And there's a few different ways to do this. Some people use their craft knife, some people use scissors, and typically what I do is I use my ruler and my craft knife to do the center. And so what I'm going to do here is we're going to get everything cut so that we can just easily assemble everything. So I'm cutting the center out, and the key with using a ruler and a craft knife is that a lot of people try to put a lot of pressure on their craft knife, and that's when it kind of goes awry and finds its own path. If you just put a light bit of pressure as you come down with your knife, it kind of creates a groove in the paper. And so then you can just follow it again until you get all the way through it. And you'll feel that your glass mat or your self-healing mat or whatever you're using to protect your work surface as you get all the way through it. But yeah, you don't have to put a lot of pressure. And if you do, then it kind of ruins it. But see how easy that is? Easy peasy. All right, so we'll do that one, and then we need this magenta one over here. And take this. There we go. So we're doing this class this week, and then next week on Friday, we'll be doing our November project sheet class as well, which will be a lot of fun. I think that if you haven't had a chance to check out our project sheets, they've been shared in on our website. There, you'll find them also. This one I got just a little bit crooked. You'll also find them in our Craft and Connect community classroom and in our Facebook group. So there's lots of different places for you to be able to see those. There we go. Just a little. All right, I'll fix that with some scissors. So now I'm going to quickly grab my scissors. And the thing about scissors and fussy cutting, people always, you either have a love-hate relationship with it or you hate it. And the key with fussy cutting is your scissors. You'll never get a smooth cut if you have dull scissors. You want to definitely have a pair. I have two different pairs. So like for bigger things like this, I'll use a pair of larger scissors like this so that I can cut with one length of the blade, so to speak. And that tends to keep the lines a little smoother. But for little tiny intricate things, these don't work well. I've got a pair of Cutter Bee fine tipped fine tip scissors, and those are the ones that I use mainly for like florals and things of that nature. And I did buy some Teflon ones, and I love them because oftentimes I get glue or sticky stuff on my scissors if I'm like cutting foam tape or something like that, and then they get all gummed up, and it's not hard to clean, it's just annoying. So being able to grab a pair of scissors that are Teflon and aren't going to give you any problem is a good thing. And so they don't, the adhesive just doesn't stick to them. And these two have a Teflon coating on them, and so these don't get gummed up either. That's my my new thing that I like a lot. All right, if you guys have any questions as we go through this, pop a message in the chat, and I'll be sure to answer. The other thing too is I always keep like a fine white border when I fussy cut things, because I feel like if I try to go right up against the edge sometimes, if things get a little wonky, it's more noticeable. Whereas if you've got like a little white edge, a lot of die cuts have a little bit of a white edge on them. And that is because since we manufacture our own products, you need to give a little bit of room for the printed material to shift a little bit when it's going through the cutting process. Because what they do is they create these gigantic dies and they feed the paper through. And it's all machine. It's all machines. But they feed the paper through it, and then if it doesn't line up just right and there's a little bit of give where the cut line is, then it won't cut into your image. So kind of the same idea for your fussy cutting. So keep that in mind. And it's a personal preference too, because not everybody likes to have those extra bits of white lines. Okay. So one of the things with this is that we're now going to cut the argyle paper. And this paper, if you look at it, up in each one of the corners, it's kind of got a little bit of a portion of a diamond, and which isn't a big deal except for the fact that they're all light blue, and I don't want to have light blue in the center of my page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this paper down slightly so that it doesn't, so that those little blue marks aren't there. Let's see, I think I'm going to do it like this. So I'm going to go across the top, and so we've got this, and do it across the bottom too. All right. And we'll fudge this a little bit in the end. And then you can either take your craft knife and cut along the corners here, or you can place it in your paper trimmer on a diagonal. And this particular paper trimmer has like a little wire, so you can see exactly where the blade is going to cut, so that you know you've got it in there straight. So I'm going to take that here, and then I'm going to do it along the top as well. Alrighty. So I'm going to line this up. And we'll go ahead and cut it. Okay, so see, we've got this on the top and the bottom. Up in the top here, my blade needs to be replaced. It's being fuzz. Okay. So now we've got our white cardstock, and I don't mind the light blue on the edges. I just didn't want it in the corners because the corners allow you, they draw your eye from the top corner to the bottom of your page. And I just like to have a strong start and a strong finish, if that makes sense. So here, let's see. There, of course, are all my frames, or my cords. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take, where did I put my glue bottle? Oh, here it is. So depending on what you use, I like to use, I just use tape runners for everything. And I just got tired of things coming loose. So now, and I use liquid glue, and I'll use a tape runner if I'm unsure as to where I want the final placement of something, but then I'll use a tape runner, and then I'll use, when I'm sure in the end, then I'll adhere it with liquid glue. And nowadays they have so many of these nice little fine liner bottles. At our crop last weekend, somebody was using, I think it might have been Jennifer Leonard, was using her Sweet Petunia glue press. And that was looked like a nice little tool, because it made adding your glue a lot easier. Sometimes, you know, when your glue gets clogged, and I think that it has something that when you put it down, it put something in the little tip so that you don't have your glue get clogged up. Okay, so those are our first step. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to take our photos and put them behind our frame. Now this calls for a 2 3/4 by 2 inch photo and a 2 by 2.5 inch landscape photo. And so what we're gonna do, and for those of you that know me and know that I oftentimes don't scrap with photos in mind. I add my photos later. So, and I usually just keep a placeholder with my, with white cardstock. And oftentimes I'll just use black and white photos, and then I can just print them in whatever size I need for my page. So that's kind of nice. Then I'm not necessarily designing around a photo size, which is nice. At least for me, it's nice. Everybody has their own way of doing things, but that's kind of my go-to. So I'm just going to back these with some white cardstock here. And then I'll add my photos later. One thing that I oftentimes like to do when I use frames is I like to give a little bit of shadow between my frame and my photo. So I often will add foam adhesive around the edge. And this was what used to gum up my scissors a lot. I was cutting this fun foam, because sometimes I use little foam squares, but if I've got like larger areas that I'm adding this stuff to, having just longer strips is easier. So I'm going to add a little bit of foam to the edges here. You could even cut these out if you weren't like going to use them on this layout, or if you have some frames or that you aren't going to use. They're great for cutting out and hanging on to, and you can use them as templates for other designs. Like if you wanted to have a frame out of like a tiny little floral. Actually, I should do some frame cut files. That'd be a nice little thing to be able to grab and have, because I use frames for all kinds of things. I don't just use them to frame photos. I use them as embellishments and as layering pieces, and sometimes they work really well to break up those straight lines and to kind of add a little bit of open space. You'll see that on my pages a lot. Okay, so see, by adding that foam, you can definitely you get that nice little shadow there. So let's do that for this one as well. So we've got our photos here. So we need a few of our little houses. So we need the little blue guy. I meant to sort through this stuff earlier, but life gets in the way. So we've got some more houses here. And actually, here, let me do this. So these little acrylic trays, love them. I got them on Amazon, and they are absolutely perfect for putting your die cuts into while you're working with a kit, because they are wide and not too deep, and it allows you to spread everything out so you can see what you're looking for, which is really nice. All right, so I need that. There should be a pink one. Take all these out. I think I have my florals and my florals and my ephemera mixed together, which is fine. Okay, so then we need the pink tree and the yellow tree, and pull some of these leaves out too. Excuse my cats. We have one that just likes to beat another one up. Actually, it doesn't even beat her up. It just, he antagonizes her. And you would think that she's getting her limbs ripped off, but she's not. She's just an overreactor. And if she didn't do that, it's kind of like, you know, when you have kids and one antagonizes another, and the more irritated one kid gets, then chances of them aggravating them again is higher. Set these aside, and so we're going to kind of lay these out so that they're going to go across the page here. we want the little one of the trees up here, the little blue house. Where's my yellow house? The little, oh, that's not the right one. This is the one I want. Okay. So the little yellow house is going to kind of peek from behind the frame. This one's going to kind of be on top of it. And this is what gives your little embellishment clusters life, is when you have them kind of placed in different layers. Makes your embellishment clusters a lot more interesting. And then over on this side, we'll do this guy. And the orange house and our yellow tree. I think for this page, I'm going to add a little bit of foam adhesive behind this house, because it is going to be kind of on top of the frame there, and the frame is lifted, so we need to have a little bit of foam. Let's see what happened here. There we go. We need to have a little bit of foam to lift this part so it sits right. I'm thinking put 2 layers so that it lifts up a little bit along this edge as well. Okay, so I'm going to, this is where my tape runner comes in handy. So I'll use it for stuff like this, so that when I'm placing stuff down, I can kind of tweak it a little bit, but not everything is like jumping all over the place. Okay, so I think that's about how I want it. And then this guy, I'm going to glue directly to the background. So he's going to go about right there. And then my little house, put some adhesive here. And this guy, let's see, maybe I don't want 2 layers. I think I don't. And the reason I'm doing that is because most of the foam on this is like right in here, at the inside edge. So put this about right here and hold it in place. And I'll put another little bit Boy, you should have seen my desk during our mixed media class. And then my trash can was so overflowing with paper towels. I think I probably almost used an entire roll. Okay, so add this here. Put a little bit of glue. And now I'm going to put my little kind of want this to overlap just a bit. So I want this kind of set him about right there. This. Okay. Didn't have enough glue on this. Okay. So do we have any audiobook readers or listeners? Last week I started reading a new book, and it's by an author, Wally Lamb. I read one of his books years ago. So there's that one. Now we need to add our little pink guy, and this one I'm going to put down. Also, I'm going to glue this one directly to the background. Oh, anyway, yeah, see? I lose my train of thought so easily. So anyway, I started reading this book. It's called The River Waits, I think. I don't know if Elaine is here tonight, but she also read it. I'll have to look and see. But boy, it gets you from like the first like 20 pages. Kind of takes your breath away. So for those of you that are looking for a good book and that like, it's kind of heavy, so we'll put that out there as well. But for those of you that like that kind of thing, it's a really, really good book. And oftentimes I get so tired of reading books that I think I'm liking and then they peter out at the end, or I feel like sometimes the author gets tired and he's like, oh, I'm just done. I'm just going to end it. Okay, so let's add just a little bit of foam behind this tree. I've got a little cat guest on my desk. She'll probably come over here and make her appearance before too long. So this is birthday season in our family. Yesterday was the first of our 3 daughters' birthdays. They're all 11 days apart. And so our middle daughter's birthday was yesterday. And then we've got our oldest daughter will turn 33 on the 31st. Okay, so this, I've got some, the foam is just a little bit too close to the edge, so I just cut part of my tree off so that this can kind of butt up right next to there. These so that they are easier to tuck underneath, and sometimes, so there's that. Here's this guy goes over here, and I'm going to trim. This guy has his trimmed off. And put him over here. Cut this down just a little bit. And slip him kind of under where the there we go. And then this guy will go over here on this side. Slip him under here. I think I'll take a little foam. I'm not going to put foam all the way underneath him, this little leaf here, but I'm going to put a little bit right here just to kind of lift this outer edge. So it just gives that little bit of shadow there. And it holds it in place. All right. So there's that. And then, or I think might be this guy and this guy. So we've got this. I'm going to put a little foam dot under this part of this leaf. Yeah, sleeve, and then that will pop that up. I kind of do that for all of them because I just like, especially when they're on top of something with pattern below it, it gives that little bit of shadow and separation, and the shadow kind of helps them stand out rather than just getting lost in what is behind it. So there's that here, and then we're going to pop this little foam leaf kind of right in here. And this guy's moving around a little bit, so I'm going to pop some adhesive over on him just to hold him in place. And then this little leaf goes over here, kind of under. There we go. Okay. So for step 3, we've got our trees, our houses. We've added some leaves and a branch on this side. And then we've got our little leaves at the bottom and our little branch over here. And so the last part of this is just the finishing touches. It's all the tiny little bits and pieces. So little puffy stickers and probably a few more little foam stickers. It makes it really easy. And I'm gonna open these. And we've got a couple of foam stickers. We need fun and love. So fun is going to go right over here. There we go. And then love is going to pop in, and it's going to fill this little bare spot. See where that extra space is between the leaf and the house? It's going to fill that. Okay. And then we need a couple of little tiny leaves that we've got over here. So we need, I'm going to pull these off. So we need the little teal puffy leaf. We need, I think that there are two little this leaf here, this little purple one, and we need this little mushroom, and there's another mushroom here that is purplish. I think that there's, let's see, hard to see them on my, let's do this. So we've got, we need a red mushroom, and I believe that he's right here. And there's a bigger mushroom, and I believe that it's on this guy over here. He is, let's see. I need this guy, and should be a purple one. And also, there we go. And I'm missing a mushroom, but I'm not, which might be a die cut. So let me look here. These in here. I do not see a mushroom there. Do I see a mushroom here? Yes, he's in this. All right, let's go ahead and put these down. So we've got our little red mushroom is going to go right over here. And there's a little teal leaf that I'll put over there. And we'll add our little orange flower. And over on this side, we've got our pink flower is going to go right here, and that's going to cover up the kind of where the tree and the branch kind of meet up. It'll clean that up a little bit. And then under here, I'm going to lift this up a little bit and add that purple leaf, which I think will work out perfectly. Okay, so I'm going to, because this is tiny, you know what? Guess where it is? It's right in. Where did I put my foam dots? Okay, I'm going to put a couple little foam dots on the back of him. Actually, I think I'm just going to put it on the top of the mushroom because I'm going to slip his stem kind of underneath. Underneath here. Okay, there, and then my little blue guy is going to go there. And now, until it wasn't clean, and that's, oh, here they are. Okay, so here's our title, Sweater Weather. We're going to pop this up and put him right under here. And I kind of, I don't want to, I'm going to tuck him underneath here. And this guy, I just want him, lift him up. I just want to move him slightly so that my tile, right. So there we go. All right. Layout number 1 is done. So here, show it off. There you go. All right. So there we